Try something new tonight. Stop the lengthy conversation. Lose cops, duck agents, PlayStations, close the curtains, have patience.
I think I'm stuck. I don't know what's going on. I'm
You're not
frozen.
stuck.
I'm moving. I'm moving.
Stop the lengthy conversation. I play stages, stuck cops and loose agents. I'm Dr. Love. I close curtains and F patience.
I like it, sir. I like it. But to be honest with you, I am frozen right now. I am going to have to come back in 2.2 seconds.
You're not frozen.
On my side, I am.
Hello? How are we?
I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, maybe my host, I can't do anything. My computer is literally locked up. I know you probably can see
Oh
me and hear me, but
no.
my computer is not doing
You see,
nada.
computer needs a Red Bull.
It might. It
And,
might. It's like, why are you guys going so late? I
well,
don't know. All right, I'm gonna figure this out, but you guys can all hear me. Says that we're live, but I can't see or do anything.
I don't know. You are not frozen,
Yeah,
Jeremy says.
yeah, I can see myself.
Are
All
you
right, I'm
back?
back. I'm back. Sorry, guys.
Ah,
What
what a
a
long
fuck.
day.
Oh, sorry. What a weird day, man. What a weird day.
Crazy day.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right,
I
guys.
fell asleep on the couch, my old age.
I didn't want to put out there why we were a little late, but it's
Oh,
definitely
I
my
don't
fault, guys.
care.
Just because I am had to go to my parents' house this evening, and yeah, I'm
Got no,
gonna
got no shame. No shame in my game.
remember, guys. Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Patreon, always, and then answers by guests and ABGFF. Those hashtags. No more eyes.
Just a ton of injuries.
Yep. All right, but do you want to talk about the new kind of little format we're going? Do
Yeah.
you want me to go through it? I think you should go through it. I agree. So I
Uh,
can post some questions.
I mean, it's just an idea. I mean, keep it fresh. Next season's right around the corner. We're gonna be looking back at this and feel like it was yesterday when the draft comes along, and then we're gonna start doing fantasy prep for next year. And I was just thinking to myself, we should switch some things up. Uh, as I said in my ditty, stop the lengthy conversation. Not too much about going so in depth into games. Not so many videos each week. So things might be a little different next year for ABG. So try out the first possibility tonight.
I think it's a good one, guys. I think we're going to start with that, to be honest with you. There's a lot of questions that pertain to players that I've listed in our kind of new format here. So, with the playoffs and stuff like that, we just want to keep on going. We want to make sure, even if you're out of the playoffs, there's plenty of DFS out there. So, we're kind of going with a new situation here. I'm going to go by a game preview. And the first one I'm going to start with here is Indianapolis Colts, Minnesota Vikings. It's the first game that's coming up on Saturday. Over under TJ Hawkinson. We're going to go half point PPR, 6.5 fantasy points. He's kind of been on the downslopes a little bit these last couple games, even though Cousins has been playing well.
Yeah, I see that for me. That's basically, is he just going to have a touchdown? Half point, 4 catches for 30 yards puts him over. So I'm going to go over 6.5 fantasy points.
All right. That same
No,
game.
4 catches for 30 will put him under, and half point. So you need 4 catches for 50. I'll still go over 6.5.
All right. Next one here. This one's actually one that came from Vegas. Jonathan Taylor, 81.5 rushing yards, over under.
I'm going to go under. Vikings are pretty good against the run, And I feel like the Colts will be able to pass the ball pretty well against Minnesota. So I'm going to put them under 81.5 rushing yards, maybe somewhere low 70s.
All right, I like it. All right, going on to the next game here. Baltimore Ravens at the Cleveland Browns. That's the next Saturday game. Kareem Hunt. This is another one that came from Vegas, I guess. 26 and a half plus 26 receiving yards. Do you think he does it?
Yeah, I kind of broke a golden rule myself with Kareem Hunt and got rid of some RB depth. I couldn't take it anymore. I just couldn't take it anymore. 26 and a half. I don't. Has he done it at all this year? I mean, it might be twice this year at best.
It was one of like first it was a 6, then it was a 16. I think game script for me, especially the Ravens, these guys play each other pretty well. Kareem Hunt seems to have better games against them. That's why I moved it to 26. That was one of the lines.
You know what? I'm gonna go over. And he gets 28. 28.
28 yards.
28, barely. I still don't recommend him. Not, well, he's just been so disappointing. They just don't use him enough. I mean, what's going to happen is the Ravens are good against the run, and they're going to have to do something like that. Get the ball out of Hunt, out of Deshaun's hands. Deshaun's going to run the ball a little bit. He's going to take a few deep shots in this one. DPJ is still a good play. Is he on the list?
I don't have him as one of my questions, but I know plenty of people do. All right, going on to the next game, the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. This is your Saturday nighter. Over under Tua, 20 fantasy points, 6-point touchdowns.
Oh,
he hasn't hit that mark in a little bit.
And I don't see him running. He's scared. You need 2 touchdowns. There's 8 points. You need 200 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, basically. I am going to say under. I'm going to say under. I'm going to say he gets about 180. He might get the 2 touchdowns, but he's going to be under 20 fantasy points, just barely under.
All right. Especially the weather. That supposedly, I know the offense is better. It's more on the defense and stuff like that, but they could be running the ball a lot. Supposedly, it was started off as 3 to 7 inches. Right. Now I saw somebody even post 3 feet somewhere. I don't know. Crazy stuff.
I heard a little bit of it went away. That's what I heard today, but we'll see.
All right, on to the next one. Same game. Gabriel Davis, 3+ receptions.
Over. He's going to get it.
You think he's going to get it?
I do. Beasley will play more than likely. That could, it's another mouth, but I mean, they've been throwing to McKenzie and whatnot. I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to get 5 receptions in this one. We have, he's so hit or miss. He's going to get 5 in this one.
All right. Next game here, Philadelphia Eagles, Chicago Bears. First Sunday night. Well, I'm sorry, Sunday day one for me. This is the rushing game. Are we going to go over under Jalen Hurts 47.5 rushing yards?
Sanders been running so well the past few weeks. He can run all over the Bears. Oh, gosh.
Told you I had some doozies for you.
46. He's going to go under.
He's going to go under with 46.
Just barely.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right. I told you this was a running game. Next one. This one's actually a Vegas one. 70.5 rushing yards for Justin Fields.
I'm going to go under as well. You can run on the Eagles, but I think he goes just under this.
All right. With Mr. Zach Wilson being the quarterback, Detroit Lions and New York Jets, over under Garrett Wilson in a standard league, 7.5 fantasy points.
I kind of feel like Zach's going to be okay.
I hope so. And I feel the same way.
I feel like he got a little humbled, went to the practice squad as an inactive. He's going to be looking to do right through the air. You see, I picked up Elijah Moore against you, debating whether or
Sure
not
did.
to throw him in.
Don't you dare put a jet
Um,
against me.
7.5 standard. I'm gonna go over. He's going over 7.5.
I love it.
Over.
I feel like, you know what? I wanted to put, I started off. So when I was doing this concept, I didn't want to keep on the same receptions. I didn't want to keep the same rushing, the same receiving. We had mentioned talking about fantasy points and stuff like that. I think I changed this question 4 times. I was like, all right, touchdown. Nah, I'm going to go receiving yards. Nah, how about reception? I'm like, you know what? Let's go outside of the box thinking. We don't see standard very often anymore. So
Yeah, I think you can throw the ball against the Lions. The
he's
line,
had 65 plus yards the last few games, too, you know?
but the only thing is that would put him under without a touchdown in the standard league.
You're 100% correct.
So, but um, I'm thinking they're going to be a little better off throwing the ball. And some of those throws could go to Carter and Zonovan. This game, we don't want to get too much into the games, I know, and that's why I want to keep it going, stop a lengthy conversation. But Goff on the road in New Jersey worries me a little bit. How hot that offense has been just worries me. They've had 3 straight home games, um, so it's. I think it's going to go over because I think he'll score a touchdown. But if he doesn't score a touchdown in a standard league, he could go under because I don't know if he gets to 75
5
yards.
yards. That's what I was kind of thinking. I was thinking more yardage from that perspective, but the touchdown puts him over pretty much.
Mhm.
All right. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Carolina Panthers. DJ Moore, 50.5 receiving yards over under.
I'm going to go under. He was pretty hurt. I'm surprised that everything's okay. He's going to play.
That's
I
the
think
way it
they're going to
seems.
get after Darnold a little bit in this one. The Steelers haven't been too good on defense. You'll see T.J. Watt to get through. He's been banged up. There talks about shutting him down, but he's going to play. So
I like it, man. I
I'm
mean,
going.
that's the grit. That's the Watt family. They're going to play through the injuries. They're going to play through whatever they can play through to be able to try to help their team. So, all right. Next one here Kansas City Chiefs at the Houston Texans. Travis Kelce, I guess 2 touchdowns.
Under. That's an
Under
easy
2.
under for me. I'm really worried about the Kansas City passing game. I know Houston's been a little better against the run. They haven't been beat up over the past 4 weeks, I think it was, when I was looking at it, analyzing through this game. But they are still one of the worst. And I think Pacheco's in line for a good one. Um, and, I just feel like that Kelsey's not going to score 2.
All
He
right.
might score 1, but not 2.
All right, same game. Chris Moore, 6+ receptions with Collins and Cooks out.
Yeah, Moore, that was a good call by you last week. But how about Amari Rogers? Never caught a pass in Green Bay, and now
Touchdown and everything.
he's killing it. And because of that, I'm going to say that he might get to 6, but he's not going over. Because Amari Rogers, I think he's a thing. He had high potential in Green Bay, just amounted to nothing. And don't
Too
forget
many fumbles,
about
man.
what's his face there, Dorsett, right? Philip Dorsett's
Yeah.
there. They didn't use the tight ends really at all last week, and they got Jeff Driscoll playing the Taysom Hill role. So I think that Chris Moore, with the emergence of Mari, 6 is his cap.
All right, going on to the next one here. Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. Over under Alvin Kamara, 58.5 rushing yards. Skyrocket.
If I was a gambling man, this would be something I would take if this was the line via Vegas. I like Kamara a lot on Sunday in this one.
All right, going on to the next game here. Dallas Cowboys at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over under Michael Gallup, full PPR, 9.5 fantasy points.
Over. I think this game's a shootout.
All right. Same game. Over under Evan Ingram, 49.5 receiving yards.
Oh, Mr. Ingram. 2 solid weeks in a row. Cowboys, traditionally not good against the tight end. Look at their numbers, though, to sort of review that stat. Because the 3 worst teams against tight end, as far as I'm concerned, it's the Cowboys, the Cardinals, and the Eagles. But over the past few weeks, the Cowboys have tightened up against the tight end a little bit. So have the Eagles, surprisingly enough. I'm going to say under 43 yards.
Ooh, especially with the weeks that he's had. I mean, Dallas Cowboys defense is definitely better, but you're right. They're not good against tight end, but Trevor Lawrence looked good. He threw the ball really well to him. It's funny. There was somebody, I saw a post that Evan Ingram's points alone in like a half point PPR would have beat like a lineup of Derek Carr, Higgins. I mean, a whole bunch of like star stud guys last week. All right. I originally had the question of over under 2 touchdowns for Russell Wilson. Since he's now ruled out with the concussion, Jerry Jeudy, do you think he has a touchdown with Sutton and Hinton out?
This game is just going to be so boring to watch. Run, run, run. That's what we're going to see. Hollywood might not even play. Rondale's out. 2 backup quarterbacks. That might even be better with these 2 teams, to be honest, because Kyler and Russ have been so terrible. Jeudy with the hat trick last week. I think it's a push. I think Jeudy could get a touchdown in this one. I think Dulcich is the one. Arizona's the worst against the tight ends. Maybe Dulcich and Murray, and maybe even Marlon Mack on his 15th NFL team.
You know I love Marlon. Dude, when I saw him bust one, I was like, I didn't even know who that is. I was like, Marlon Mack.
I mean, if they score 3 touchdowns, I think that those could be the 3 touchdowns. I think that I'd either go under or he'll get 1 maximum.
All right. Same game. DeAndre Hopkins, 7+ receptions.
Under.
All right. You think it's a running game? Run. All right. New England Patriots, Las Vegas Raiders. Damian Harris, 44.5 rushing yards over under if he plays, and that's Stevenson more than likely being out.
Yeah, over if there's no Stevenson, but he practiced today, so we'll see what happens. It's a confusing situation as always, but if both of them play, I still think over.
I like it. I think you're right. I think the Patriots can run the ball up.
And if both of them play, I think it helps both of them because then both of them don't have to be a lead dog. And now, luckily, last week, the other Harris and Pierre Strong got into the game and did okay. But that means nothing with Bill Belichick. So anybody rushing out to get Pierre Strong and the other Harris, these 2 are the top 2. So I'm going to take the over here. If he plays, I think he can get 45 yards pretty easily.
All right, going on to the next one here. Tennessee Titans and Los Angeles Chargers. Your boy Chiggy, half-point PPR, 7.5 plus fantasy points.
Oh, over. Chig. He's the man.
He's
one
awesome.
Of my favorite guesstimators from like week 6. I tell people about Chiggy. Chigoziem Okonkwo.
I couldn't spell it, so I put Chiggy.
Yeah, because no Burks. They're going to be able to run on the Chargers, but I mean, will they be able to keep up with the Chargers doing that? Because the Chargers are going to be able to pass all over the Titans. The Chargers have just given up on the run. They're just like, well, we can't run, so we'll just throw. And with all their wide receivers back, that's a pretty good idea. That means that quicker possessions, more possessions for Tennessee. And if the Chargers are successful, they're going to have to throw. And Chiggy is trajecting in the correct direction. I think 7.5 is very attainable.
All right, same game. Over under Josh Palmer, 54.5 receiving yards.
He's one that worries me. I was thinking about him today because I have him on the bench. I've been starting him, took him out. just because everybody else no buys and they're healthy now. But I was like kind of thinking in the back of my head that I feel like Josh Palmer could come through, but I'm going to go under 54.5 receiving yards, like maybe 48 if we're lucky.
All right, going on to the Cincinnati Tampa Bay game. Joe Mixon, 3+ receptions.
Over. I think he gets it. I think Mixon is a pretty good game.
All right, same game. Leonard Fournette. This is actually a line from Vegas, 29.5 rushing yards.
Gosh. He's another one. It's like, has he even hit that this year? It seems like, 29.5. Good Lord. I'm going to go under. That seems like such a low number that he should be able to go over that, but
He hasn't been getting the burn. It's been White, man.
Yeah, they're going to look to establish it, but sooner or later, I do like the Bucks in this one. I think last week, we saw on Thursday night, what the problem with the Bucks was against the Niners. And they were all over the field. They're like swarming bees. Sinking into my chair. I'm going to go under on Fournette. I think he'll have a decent game receiving the ball because that's how they've used him best this season. Under 25, maybe.
All right, Sunday Night Football here. Giants at the Commanders. Over under Isaiah Hodgins, 4.5 receptions.
That's too high of a number. If this is a Vegas line, I would never touch that. If it was 3.5, I would take it. I think he gets 4 under.
All right. Next one here, same game, over under Jahan Dotson, full PPR, 9.5 points.
I was thinking about Jahan Dotson today, and I was like, you know what? Like, it's been a while. And
he had the touchdown last week. He actually played okay. Or not last week, or I guess the week before the bye.
It wasn't that the weird play at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That bye week, I think, helped him because Mr. Roberto. I'm going back and forth between Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke in my head, man. I'm looking to just throw the Hail Mary with Desmond Ridder out there and just say whatever happens, happens.
Luckily, I had a good start yesterday, man.
Yeah. But I was thinking about Jahan Dotson, and 9.5. He's got to get a touchdown to get to that. Because I don't think he gets 55 receiving yards and 4 receptions. I don't think that happens. And I also kind of think like he might get a touchdown from Curtis Samuel. Like I got a weird vision in my mind of Curtis Samuel throwing a touchdown pass to Jahan Dotson. Gosh. I'm going to say over.
Ooh, I like it.
10 points, 10 fantasy points. It's attainable on a full PPR.
On Monday night, I got to talk about your other man crush, Baker Mayfield, 2+ touchdowns.
Yeah, he gets 2. One of them goes to Kyron Williams, and the other one goes to Tyler Higbee.
I'm calling Tutu Atwell with the touchdown.
All
right, last one here. AJ Dillon, 64.5 rushing yards. He's averaged 69 over the last 4 games.
Aaron Jones a little banged up.
Dillon's going to get the love.
Let's give him the over, 69.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right, that's the way to go through the games, guys. A little bit different. We wanted to get some,
quicker.
Definitely a lot quicker. Some ideas as far as some of the games of who I think could play well. That's why I kind of went the questions that way. And guests didn't see these beforehand. So this is all coming from the spot, from the gut, as we like to do. Because, inside scoop from outside the box comes from the gut. So,
yes.
All right, guys. We're going to go into the questions from the group. I got some doozies here where you better pick up your chair now. Because you're going to have to look over.
Yeah.
All right. Corey J with the question here. Pick 2 of the following PPR flex spots in week 15. Juju, Devonta Smith, Chubb, Hopkins, or Bam. Zonovan Knight.
What's What's Devonta Smith's nickname? Skinny Batman? I heard somebody call him that.
I have no clue, but that'd be amazing if it was.
Problem with Juju is like, will he need to? Devonta did last week. He almost should have had two. Chubb. Man. This is a doozy right off the bat, Corey. You know what? I like Zonovan Knight to catch a couple more passes than he caught last week. It was a bit disappointing, his receptions. I think he'll be able to run pretty well. I don't think the Jets are going to stray too far away as Zach Wilson is a quarterback from what they had before when he was a quarterback. They're still going to look to run for the most part. I think they will open up the gates a little bit, so to speak, and let him throw the ball and let him regain some respect. But I'm going to go with Bam. And you know what? I'm not doing it again. I'm going with Chubb. Chubb and Knight. Give me the running backs. Hopkins is close. Colt McCoy might not even be a downgrade, but that Denver defense is real. And I think that they could be a little better at sustaining drives with Brett Rippon. Devonta had a good game last week, and they're going to be able to run. Juju won't really be too needed. So I'm going with Chubb, even though it's tough to get a run against Baltimore. I'm going with Chubb at home and Bam Knight at home, running the ball in the cold weather.
All right, Matt P got a long one here. That's why I said we had to make sure that we could read over it. This is my final roster for playoffs. Let me know if you have any suggestions. I do not have any receiver depth, but I don't know who to drop and drop them for. Starters are Burrow, Eckler, Jonathan Taylor, Hill, St. Brown, Kelsey, McLaurin, Broncos, D, and Bass. His bench is Deontay Johnson, Dylan, Buxty, Schultz, Foreman, Watson, and Najee. Available wide receivers are actually a lot of good ones. Elijah Moore, Atwell, Palmer, McKenzie, Julio Jones, Chark, Pierce, and I can keep on going if we want to.
I gotta look at that over here.
Yeah, I think you'd have to, just because we gotta see your handsome face there.
Let's see here. I mean, he's got Hill. So what happens with the weather? St. Brown, McLaurin. On his bench is Deontay. I mean, just keep what you got, man.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, yeah, there's guys to pick up, but like you said, it's like who to drop.
For me, if you're going to drop anybody, I know it's kind of crazy to say. I mean, you're more than likely going Burrow the rest of the way, I would assume, based on schedule, based on how he's been playing. Watson could be a drop for me if you needed the wide receiver depth, but I don't know if I'm going to drop Watson for one of these guys.
Yeah, not with what you have. I don't think.
I think you're okay. All right. Robert R. with a question here. I have my starting running backs as CMC and Sanders. Wide receivers are Watson and Waddle. Need flex help. Connor, Zonovan Knight, or Mike Evans. Let me know when you'll discuss on the show so I can make plans to watch. Thanks for your help. We're doing it now there, bud.
Gosh, the Bucs offenses look terrible. I do think a lot of that was San Francisco's defense last week. You saw how they were flying around. And that's not the offense that he's running right now. But I have this feeling about Mike Evans this week. Man, I know Connor, we talked about running the ball. But it's tough to do against Denver. I like Bam, but I'm going to go with Mike Evans here. I got a feeling about him this week. And you know what? Like, anybody watches, Rob, he'll tell you, like, you know, Mike Evans, I've called quite a few down ones. And I was like, I don't know. His career might be just about over. He looks kind of like it. I got a feeling about this week. I think their backs are a little against the wall. And they're at home. And I think Cincinnati's going to be able to do okay, even though, you know, Boyd and Higgins, who knows if they're even going to play. I think Cincinnati can still move the ball. So I'm going to go with Evans. Big game at home.
I like it. All right, Mike CH here. I don't know why I put CH. I always use these with the last letter. But all right, I got Hunter Henry, Jeff Driscoll, and potentially Goddard coming back this week, but I'm not sure who to start. Half point PPR. I believe this is the one that you tagged me on. You might have answered already, but
Yeah, I still kind of feel the same. Hunter Henry is he's just so up and down. Um, I mean, Driscoll is if you need the, the Hail Mary. I'm still like, do we even know if Goddard's coming back? I don't feel like he's going to. I mean, he was activated to return, but we don't know if he's actually going to return. Um, if
things
I'm
are trending in the right direction as per the
Yeah, I know, but like if I'm Philly, I know it's on the road in Chicago. It's like, why? Well, I'm not even going to rush them. You are on the fast track to the 1 seed. You got a couple game cushion. I'm just going to wait it out with him. So I'm not even considering him. If he goes, I guess I get it, but I don't. So if you are a big underdog, go with the Driscoll, I guess. But otherwise, you got to go with Henry. He's going to get you 4 to 6 more than likely. And for a tight end, that's about what you need for a safe 4. I mean, last week I think he just got the one big one kind of towards the end, right? He didn't do too much otherwise.
he did okay. I think he had like in our league, he had like 9 points or something. I was actually
Yeah.
worried. I was playing against one of, I guess, to get into the playoffs, and he had Henry and Hopkins, and those guys just kept on getting little catches here and there, and I'm
Yeah.
like, holy moly!
The one thing that you got going on with him is I think no Parker, more than
Parker's
likely.
concussed.
And Myers is maybe
Myers.
going to be back.
Yeah,
So I think if I want to go safe, I'm going Henry. But Driscoll was going to give you that upside. I don't think he's quite Taysom Hill, but they're going to use him like it. Man, you can get a 50% quarterback in your tight end spot. I mean, it's worth a shot because 50% is more than Taysom Hill.
he gets
Taysom
what,
Hill's not
like
getting 50%.
4%.
He's not getting 50% of snaps at quarterback. But Driscoll, they're saying he's going to play 50% of the quarterback snaps. So it's just like, might as well. Might as well.
All right, Dawn with a question here. What would you change if I win? I'm in the championship. Dak, Hill, Garrett Wilson, McLaurin, Pacheco, Mixon, Schultz, Kamara, benches Godwin, White, P. Ryan, Murray, Fields, and Damian Harris.
Yeah, I told her that I think that I would play Fields over Dak.
All right. Next one here is from Jason D. Any changes, suggestions? Starters are Mike White. Got to get him out of there. AJ Brown, St. Brown, Kirk, Henry, Jacobs, Schultz, Myers, Dallas D, and then benches DJ Moore, Aaron Jones, Tennessee, and Washington. You got to get a quarterback, buddy.
Listen, and I think this was before I passed out on the couch amidst all my running around on my daddy duties. And I asked him to show me the waiver wire. You got a ton of quarterbacks out there, like a ton. And I asked him, I was like, "Is Desmond Ritter there?" But the list is really, I mean, it's like half the league is available. Like it's like nobody must have a backup quarterback, which is whatever. And down at the bottom of the list, I remember seeing Aaron Rodgers. And you know what? I think I would just take Aaron Rodgers.
Agreed.
I would play Aaron Rodgers. You got a shot on Monday night. He's at home. He loves the cold weather. The Rams have a little bit of a life on offense. So let's go. He's getting Dobbs back, Mr. Dubs. So I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. And I'm just going to do it. You know what? Like before the bye, interesting, ridiculous, blew my mind. And I saw this stat a few times, but he kept saying it. He was leading the NFC in touchdown passes. He has been pretty much like for the most of the year.
How is
Really?
that even real?
You're right.
So
All right.
I think I would go with him because he's going to be good for 2 touchdowns. I think.
That Monday night game could be a lot higher scoring than people are thinking. I mean, it's going to be cold. It's going to be not very windy, but there will be some wind. But we'll see what happens. All right, Landon, got a question. Need opinions. Who should I start on defense? Cowboys or Broncos? If not them, who should I get from waivers? Carolina, Washington, Cleveland, New Orleans, Chargers, Arizona, Detroit, or Jacksonville?
Yeah, I saw this one too, and like the first four all look nice to me.
Yeah,
Carolina, Washington, Cleveland, New Orleans. New Orleans is wild card. I do think Ritter's going to be pretty good. I'm debating starting him myself. You know how I roll, but I'm a big underdog and I need upside. But he's like an inch away from my starting lineup. Quarterbacks all went down for me. Uh, Cleveland at home, they got a really good matchup because Baltimore has nobody. I mean, to be honest,
I'm
Demarcus
starting
Robinson.
Cleveland in our dynasty league.
Yeah, do you just pick them up? My
Mhm.
boy D Rob. That's about all I got. Washington. This game could end up being a 2020 tie again. That's why I'm like almost going with Desmond Ritter. I think that New Orleans game's going to be high scoring. I think New Orleans. I think both of them coming off the bye. Both of them alive in the division. Sparks on offense could be flying. I think it's 43.5. I looked it up. I think I might take that over. Carolina one, not so much. Um, I know, but then they're at home and they're going against Mason Rudolph, probably. Gross. Um, I think I'd just go with the Broncos. I'm gonna go with the Broncos. It's Colt McCoy at home. They've been playing really well all year. I think their offense is going to be better without Russell Wilson. Although I will say this: the Broncos' offense was alive for the first time this season,
Last week.
and then Russell Wilson dies.
Jesus. Knock on wood.
You know what I mean? But like then like it was like, wow, look at them go. And
What I
then
tell you in the last
and then
show,
lose out.
every week I'm always looking for that. All right, this is going to be the Russell Wilson that we're going to see. He's going to come back. I mean, we had to wait, 14 weeks for it to happen, but
And then it was in, and then it was over.
that was it.
I just think that the Cardinals are just so shot at this point. And being at home, their defense is going to be able to do some pretty good things. And I think I would go with Denver, to be honest. If you want to just keep rolling with Dallas, that's fine too. But Jacksonville's been rolling on offense. So I think I would just go with the Broncos and just play it safe. My second choice, if I had to pick out of those, would probably be Washington or Cleveland.
All right, Chris R with a question here. Any changes besides the obvious, and who would you put in for Pierce? All right, so his starters are Watson and Pierce, CMC who played already, Lockett who played already, Chase, Andrews, B-Rob, and Bass. Benches Hopkins, Burkhead, Deontay Johnson, Patterson, Boyd, and Gus Edwards.
Patterson intrigues me with Ritter, but I'm gonna go with Deontay because if it's Mason Rudolph loves him, and he's yet to score a touchdown this year, and Mason Rudolph could be the cure. So I'm gonna go with Deontay.
All right, next one here. Chris R with another team. Any changes to the team also? Starters, Burrow, Cook, JT, McLaurin. Oh, yep.
But I'm wondering, why is he listing wide receivers of Pierce a running back? Is Pierce in his? Oh, because he's got Brian Robinson.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Pierce is in his starting lineup. And
Yeah,
I
there
guess
you go. Put B Rob at running back. Yep, and I'm going to play Deontay. Yep.
All right, back to this one here.
Man.
No problem. Burrow, Cook, JT, McLaurin, Garrett Wilson, Fryermuth, Gibson, and Koo. On his bench is Akers. The other Cook, Swift, Evans, Komet, and McPherson. McPherson.
Yeah. I might. I think I'm going to go with Evans over Gibson.
I was going to say Akers over Gibson. I know that's crazy. I know Akers has had such down weeks and stuff like that, but I just feel like they're going to utilize him. And what do we always say about Green Bay? They can't stop the speedy backs who can catch out the backfield and stuff like that. I feel like Kyron Williams was that guy, but they haven't been utilizing him like that, with Baker being back there too. But I like the Evans call, though.
I got a feeling about Mike Evans this week.
Yeah. Gibson's a tough one. It's because it's a Sunday nighter. I understand having a Sunday nighter, but you already have McLaurin too. So you're right. Maybe Evans would be the way to go there just because of the big play potential. Yeah. All right, Spencer, with the big one here. Have 4 options for wide receiver: DPJ, Gallup, Chris Moore, and Hollywood. Which 2 would you start? And then he has also how's the lineup, and he has Hurts, AJ Brown, St. Brown, DPJ, Swift, Zeke, Njoku, Gallup, Dillon, Cousins, benches Hollywood, Jeff Wilson Jr., Dulcich, Singletary, Akers, Ritter, Moore, and Burkhead. So right now he has in his starting lineup DPJ and Gallup.
I'm gonna go with DPJ and DPJ and Gallup.
I think you have.
Chris Moore's close, but DPJ and Gallup. Yep.
All right, Jeremy with one here. I'll be at the show tonight. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi.
But posting this one for a friend. If he wins this week, I most likely make the playoffs. Wait, huh? Any changes? Starters: Gino, who played already, Montgomery, Kamara, Allen, Ayuk, who played already, Hawkinson, Devonta Smith, Browns defense, and Gould. Benches: A-Rod, Harris, Olave, Myers, Wilson Jr., and Najee.
Are we aiding in collusion here?
Possibly.
Let's see here. Starters. Oh, Ayuk also played.
Yeah, I forgot to put that played after him. I would have went A-Rod over Gino, man.
I would have went Olave over Ayuk.
Yeah. I know Montgomery's been playing well. I kind of feel like Najee could play better, but Montgomery's going to get a lot more touches.
I'm going with Olave over Devonta Smith.
Okay. All right. Josue with the question here. If weather is bad tomorrow night, would you start Elijah Moore over Waddle? I already have Stephon Diggs in that game. Also have Pierre Strong if Harris is out.
I'm nervous about Waddle. His past play, Tua, being afraid of his own shadow. I'm debating on whether or not to play Jameson Williams or Elijah Moore at this point, personally. I think I'm probably going to end up going Elijah Moore against you, Rob. But I just don't want to miss the game where Jameson Williams actually gets used for the first time. I don't think that Sauce or Reed. That's his last name. Why is Reed in my head? The other corner for the Jets.
DJ Reed.
Yeah. I don't know if they can keep up with him. I think he's too fast for them. I think that they would be able to do a really good job against Chark and Reynolds and Amon-Ra in the slot. I don't think either one of them are going to travel there with him. It'd be interesting. I think Jameson could just beat him deep. So that's why I'm like having this debate between Elijah Moore and Jameson Williams in my head. The smart play is Elijah Moore. Well, you're asking about Elijah Moore and Jalen Waddle. Waddle has been about as productive as Jameson Williams. I mean, he had the injury Tua's banged up. If the weather's bad, yeah, I'll play Elijah Moore. But I'm making that decision 15 minutes before kickoff.
Game starts at 8:15.
I want to look at what it looks like. I want to watch the pregame. I want to go on weather.com. They're going to have to pass. They're not going to be able to run against the Bills, I don't think. You can run against the Bills. Teams have proven that, but I don't think they're going to be able to. So I want to see. If the weather is bad and you get that feeling 15 minutes before the game, I think Elijah Moore is a pretty good play this week. So I don't mind it at all over Waddle.
You're right. I like it. Josue with another one here. Driscoll, Taysom, Chiggy, Goddard at tight end.
Josue, I had a chance to pick up Driscoll, passed. Had a chance to pick up my boy Chiggy, passed. I don't think Goddard's going to play. If he does, it doesn't matter. If you're asking me which you are, I'm going with Taysom because that's what I'm doing. Coming off the bye at home against Atlanta. I'm going with Taysom out of this entire crew. I think your safest play is Chiggy, but I'm going for the home run with my boy Taysom.
What did I tell you before? I said I feel like Taysom's going to make the difference in our matchup.
I got a lot of ground to cover, right?
Antonio with a question. Hi, friends. What's up, bud? I'm going with Kamara and Jacobs as running backs. Need 3 more between Pacheco, Foreman, Smith-Schuster. Can't say it. Watson and Lazard. Thank you. You're welcome.
Pacheco, 100%.
Yep.
Is one. I told you last week that you were going to see a lot of Chuba.
I want to hear about the Watson Lazard thing.
I told you we were going to see a lot more Chuba. Performance was still, I think, okay, if I remember correctly. Against Pittsburgh, at home, I think they're going to try and keep the ball out of Sammy Boy's hands. They could get some short fields with Rudolph. So I'm going to go Pacheco. I'm going to go Foreman. And then it comes down to Watson versus Lazard. You know, I honestly want to say Pacheco and both Green Bay wide receivers. But I'm going to go with Pacheco, Foreman, and Watson.
I hope so for that Watson. We'll see what happens. I'm a little nervous with Dobbs coming back. That makes me a little nervous, to be honest with you.
This is a first. Anybody that's been with us all year or 4 years, man, I was telling Green Bay to play Lazard before anybody knew who Lazard was. And, you know, he's been usurped. And Dobbs coming back. It's going to hurt a little bit. Cobb is still lingering around. And I think those are both the same type of player as Lazard at this point. Watson can get the end arounds and the rushing plays and the shots deep downfield. So that's why he gets it. So, and I like A-Rod in this game. At home, put on a show. They're still alive in the playoff hunt somehow. So I like Pacheco. I'm going to stick with Foreman. I think that they might get a couple short fields. And Watson. That's what I'm going with.
All right, Antonio with another one here. On my other league, Deshaun Watson, Goff, Dalton, or Brady?
Listen, I kind of feel like I like Mike Evans this week. And obviously Brady's connected to that. But I'm going with Watson. I like the trajectory. He looked, I'm going to say, 2 to 3 times better in the second week than he did in his first week. And he's at home against a team he can pass against. He's going to be looking to run the ball. I'm going with Watson. I'm doing it. Those ground yards are key. And that's another reason I kind of want to go Ritter, because they're not running Heineke enough. And they will run Ritter. And if you look, Mariota has outscored Heineke this year. And I kind of feel like Ritter's better than Mariota. So I kind of lean that way, Rob. It'll be a surprise.
Surprise. Oh, I shouldn't probably say it.
I'm going Watson, Antonio.
All right, Antonio with another one here. Fournette or ETN?
ETN.
Etienne.
2 down weeks in a row. Now you're going against Dallas. They have forgotten that ETN can catch passes out of the backfield. They need to remember that this week because you've got the pass rush coming from the Cowboys. I like ETN for a bounce back game against Dallas. I'm going with him.
All right, Spencer with the question here. So before tomorrow's games, Watson or Daniel Jones?
I'm sticking with it. I'm going Watson. Sticking with it. You know, Vanilla Vic is just not running as much as I would like him to. The wide receivers have sort of molded into something usable, and that could possibly be why. Mr. Hodgins, he was the guest baptizer, the first ever, but look, that was weeks ago, and here he is. We tried to tell you. Hopefully, you got him. But I think that game, it's going to be tough for Saquon, but I think they're going to lean a little bit on Saquon. I just feel like that game caps at 20. And while the Browns and the Ravens could be close, I think the Browns at home, Watson, his third game, now he's at home. He wants to show these fans, this is what you traded for or whatever. This is the money that you gave up. I'm going with Watson. I'm doing it. I like him.
All right. Tim got a long one here. Have Eckler and Mixon as running backs, wide receivers, DK, who played, Devonta, and Evans in the flex.
Okay.
On bench, I have Chark, Dobbins, or Dillon. Tight ends, I have Okonkwo or playing over Knox. Everything seemed good, or would Dillon be better over Evans or Mixon's for Monday Night Magic? Won't be able to make it tonight. We'll watch after work tomorrow. Thanks, fellas. Win or go home.
No, but I'd be okay if you want to play Dillon in the flex, put Evans over Devonta.
All right. I like it. Remember, guys, to like, comment, and share. That was all of the questions from the group. Now we will go to your questions live. All right. Let's get to the top here. Bear with me one sec. Get your Red Bulls. I got my beer. Let's go. Nice, Jeremy. I drank coffee. I was not frozen. I'm sorry, guys. That was weird. When I started, literally everything was frozen. I had the intro video. Guess was like this. Doing the ebbs and flows. You got caught like that. I was like, oh, look at
I thought you just froze.
All right, David with the question. Which three would you pick for PPR? Thielen, Van Jefferson, Peoples, Jones, Jameson Williams, or Chris Moore? You know, I thought I saw him comment afterwards. He says, I mean, which two would you pick?
Okay.
Hold on. Let me get back to it again.
I can see it here. I'm going DPJ 100%. Man. See, my whole thing with Jameson Williams, I just don't want to be late. Just don't want to be late. And I am, though, afraid that I'm early. I mean, I started him last week out of desperation with all the injuries. In the bye weeks, by Mageddon, part 7. But I've got him stuck in there, and he might get swapped out. He's definitely not safe. Van Jefferson didn't do much until that touchdown at the end. He is their best wide receiver. I think that I will go, if you got to go super safe, you know what I'm screw it. DPJ and Van Jefferson. Just do it. Then we got Monday night in there. I wanted to say Chris Moore. Thielen is, he could do something as well against the Colts. But I'm going Van Jefferson, so I have a Monday night. And DPJ is the best option, I think, out of all 5.
I would agree with you on that. All right. Jeremy with one here. Flex, Driscoll, Hill, Dulcich, or Akers?
Well, I mean, myself personally, at this moment in time, I'm playing Hill over Dolchich. I think Dolchich is about as safe as it gets. With no Sutton, with no Hinton, um, playing against the worst team against the tight end in the Arizona Cardinals, he's about as safe as it gets. But I am not in a position for safety. So that is why I'm playing Taysom Hill. I mean, he's got a 20 plus game in him that he could get if you get lucky. Listen, the past, we're talking weeks, 11, 12, and 13, right? 11 and 12, he could have had 2 touchdowns. Week 13, he had 1 touchdown and would have had a second if they didn't have 12 men on the field because they ran the same exact play again. He gained a yard, but the problem was they were no longer on the 1 yard line. They were on the 6 yard line, and he only gained a yard. So it's 3 games in a row where he should have, could have, would have had 2 touchdowns. I like his upside. Could Dulcich get 2 touchdowns? Sure, of course. Um, but I think Hill is your upside. Dulcich is probably the safest. Driscoll's going to be on the field 50% of the snaps. Oh, that KC defense is getting good at the right time. We saw that coming a couple weeks ago. I'm going to go with Taysom. I'm going with Taysom. If you need something, if you just need a floor, I think Dulcich is your guy. But if you need some upside, I'm going with Hill. The Driscoll thing, I mean, that was the first week that we ever seen something like that out of him. And maybe that's a nice wrinkle that they threw in. They were going to play Jeff Driscoll as a tight end in the beginning of the season, and he just never got any snaps there. And obviously, we all know Jeff Driscoll used to be a quarterback, so that's why he's got that. And they figured out they could do both. So, I mean, let's see. Driscoll could wind up being better than Taysom Hill at being Taysom Hill. But I'm going to focus on Dulcich and Hill. If you need safety, Dulcich. If you want to shoot for the moon, Taysom Hill. And hopefully you survive, and then you can figure out between the other 3. The Cam Akers thing, Rob, I know he likes him Friday night. I think it's more of a Kyron game this week. I don't dislike him, but over the other guys, I think Hill gives you a chance in 3 different facets: catching, rushing, and throwing. And I'm going to take that.
All right, Jeremy with another one here. Defense: Washington, Pats, or Jets?
If the Jets could surprise, Goff is terrible on the road. Oh man.
I picked up Washington and starting them in my most important league. I talked to guests earlier, and I was like, I'm kind of weary on Washington all of a sudden. Baltimore is my other one, but I don't think they're going to be able to play well enough to be able to be a legitimate option. So I'll probably stick with Washington, but I don't have the options of the Pats or the Jets. I kind of feel the Jets, man. I don't know why.
I'm going to go with the Jets as well. I think Washington, I think seems like the smartest. I just have a feeling they're going to force Goff into some mistakes. He's not at home anymore. We're not in Kansas anymore, Jared.
All right, Jeremy with another one here. Are we trusting Waddle this week against a good defense and some recent dud games? Is DPJ a better option?
Okay, so here's one. We had the question before of Elijah Moore or Waddle, and it was iffy. DPJ, I'm playing DPJ over Waddle.
All right. Flex, Stevenson, Boyd, Carter, Dulcich, DPJ, Akers. Is Akers worth dropping and flexing Driscoll? Excuse me.
Going DPJ.
Yeah, I'm going to go DPJ again.
But I'm not putting him in the flex. I'm putting him at wide receiver, and I'm moving his Sunday wide receiver to the flex.
All right. He says, if I win and he wins, I'm in, unless another person outscores me. Ah, that was from before. The confusion.
Yeah.
All right. If I flex Hill, Dulcich over Hawk.
I don't hate that. sure.
I'm kind of, yeah. I think Hawk's going to have a good game, but Dolce is just going to be needed so much more. All right, Spencer with the question here: Njoku or Dolcic?
Yeah, I saw that you had Njoku in your starting lineup because I saw that you had Dolcic on the bench, and I was like, "Who the heck's his starter?" I think I would stick with Njoku. Sean loves his tight ends. I think Watson's going to be looking to show the fans why the Browns did what they did for him. It's a perfect game to do so against a subpar pass defense at home at night, right? Or is that the middle game? Or is that the first game?
Njoku is the middle game. They have a 4:30 game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going
All
to Njoku. I'm fine with Njoku.
I have a question for you:
Okay. I got to fix my share.
Heineke or Baker?
You know what? Heineke.
Yeah, that's who I have in. This one's.
I hope it's Baker's the right answer. I can't bet on it yet.
I'm kind of stuck on this one because I feel like I have the right running backs in. I have Chubb, Elliott, and Pacheco as my flex. I also have Olave, Thielen, Hubbard, and Dillon that I could play. I kind of feel like Dillon over Zeke makes sense because I think I'm going to keep on riding Chubb. I think he'll have a better game this game. I think they're starting to get the offense going as well. But Zeke has been playing so well.
Yeah. You can run on the Jags.
Yeah. I think I have the right people in, but your thoughts?
I mean, I would try and find a way for Olave to get in there, but I think.
So my starting wide receivers are St. Brown, Lamb, and Hopkins. The funny part is that I thought about benching Hopkins for Olave. I know we had talked about earlier as far as the people that
I'd consider that.
The receptions and stuff like that.
I'd consider that. There's no way that I'm sitting Pacheco. Not in this game. Not in this matchup. You know, people are chasing after McKinnon. He had 2 really big receptions that he turned into really nice touchdowns. He also had 5 other receptions in that game. Product of the game. I think that Pacheco's they're just going to be able to run with him against Houston. I want him in my lineup, Rob, so you keep him there.
All right. That's what I'm feeling. Darko, Ritter or McCoy over Watson or Huntley? Standard format.
Shoot for the moon. You're playing Watson, Darko, but shoot for the moon with me because I might end up playing Ritter over Heineke. So let's go with Watson and Ritter. Let's do it.
All right. Jeremy with one here. I'm thinking of starting Hawk, seeing how it goes, and determining Hill or Dolcic and flex based on that.
That's a plan.
I like it.
Go with it.
All right. I got another one here. Zonovan or DeAndre Swift?
I think I'm going to stick with Bam. Zonovan.
All right.
I like Swift's trajectory. They're doing, exactly what I said that they would do. And each week it's getting a little bit better. They're starting to use them in the pass game. The thing is with Swift, it's like he's had a few healthy weeks in a row. So what happens? I'm going with Bam Knight. Just a little bit more durable. Tough Jets defense. All I got to do is crunch a couple Swifty bones.
All right. Cousins or Fields?
I don't know.
That's what I feel like.
I don't know how you sit Fields. I don't. I mean, I recommended to sit him a couple weeks ago because I didn't think he was healthy enough to play. It was week 13, and he did pretty darn good. So I'm playing him. I'm playing Fields.
All right. I like it. I like it a lot. I think those are the questions that I have. Let me look at my one last team here.
Well, it's not bad. We did a big show essentially in 1 hour.
Yeah,
We
no, we
wouldn't
did
even
pretty
have
good.
been through all the games by now. So this could be a good thing going forward for next year, season 7. We'll fine tune a few things here or there. But the idea is that we do something like this where it's quick, each game over under type of thing, as Rob mentioned. Answer the group questions, answer your questions live, and really just do one show a week, no recorded shows, possibly no halftime adjustments. But what we will have is quick videos on YouTube and TikTok where we name things like the guesstimator and we discuss Thursday games and Saturday games and quick little quibs about, oh, you should look at this guy on the waiver wire. So less time on our end, shorter videos for you to check out. So preferably, possibly a win-win for everybody. So we'll fine tune it over the final weeks of the season, this week, next week, and the week after. I think we do one show after week 17. I can't remember. Do we do a full week 18 video for the week 18ers? I think we do.
I would say we do, but it's usually a quick, hey, this is who I'm thinking. These are the people to be worried about sitting and stuff like that.
Well, it's going to be the same type of thing. We're going to be piloting this and going back and forth and fine tuned a few things so we could figure out this new format for next year.
I like it. I like it a lot. Jeremy says, good luck, guys. I'm really going to need it in both leagues. Same here, man. Same here. Good luck to you. And then no guesstimator this week.
No guesstimator this week. You know, what I wanted to do, Jeremy, was go back through all the guesstimators because I was trying to remember all the way back to week 1, 4 months ago, essentially. And I couldn't remember. And I started to go back and watch week 1's videos, and I'm like, I don't have time for this today or this week. So because there was a few that are huge guys right now. I mean, Okonkwo is probably the most glaring one. Hodgins as the guestbetizer on the Thanksgiving show. He's another one. It's like there's just guys that we had mentioned over a month ago that are now starters and popping up in questions, and that's what the guesstimator is all about. So this week, no guesstimator because we're not going through shows. But what will happen is the guesstimators will be back next year, and more so, there's also not one I kind of want to get because right now we kind of don't have time for guesstimators. You know, you are in the playoffs. You more than likely don't need a guesstimator at this point. If I had to pick one, the one that I'm kind of holding out hope for, I mean, we mentioned it, we talked about it, but I don't know if he's under 15% owned, and that's one of the parameters for guesstimator. They have to be under 15% owned. And week 1 of the playoffs, I'm not sure if we're starting a guy that's under 15% owned. So, like, if I had to pick one, I'd say Desmond Ridder because he's probably under 15% owned. But you're only starting him if you're in a poop position like I am, sinking into the depths of oblivion in my broken but, like, that's the thing is, you know, nobody's in probably the position I'm in playing in the deep league. Our league fantasized me. You know, I lost Lamar, had Pickett. Those two guys went down in the first drive of the past 2 weeks and sort of sealed my fate and made me go up against Rob in our most important league this week, where his team is a huge favorite. So, like, I'm at the point where I'm just like, you know what? I might just have to play Desmond Ridder because it's between him and Heineke for me. But other than that, that's great. We'll put that up in a second. But other than that, nobody in the world, unless you're in a 2 QB league like Darko, Superflex, should you be considering Desmond Ridder. But, like, he would have been somebody but I'm not going to guesstimate him because nobody should be taking that leap of faith unless you are in super dire need, which I don't think anybody is in as bad a shape that I am at quarterback.
The only person that I would kind of consider for a guesstimator would be Tutu Atwell, like I mentioned before. I just think that he can get some. He won't get a ton of points, but he's going to be needed. The reception should be there.
Is he
Baker
even under 15% anymore, though?
He may not be. The last time I checked, I think he was like at 7 or 8%.
Okay.
But all right, Darko has one though. He has a Darko-mater. Shaheed. I like Shaheed, man. I thought he looked good.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy wrote, "You need to win a league so you can afford to replace that chair."
Sure.
I forgot. Zach told me he had a question. DJ Moore, Elijah Moore, or Tutu Atwell.
I'm going to go Elijah.
Okay. And then he said, as far as tight ends, Njoku or Kmet.
Oh, boy. I think Njoku is safer, but I do think Kmet gets back in the end zone this week. But I will go Njoku. I'll go all in on Deshaun and the Browns, but I do think Kmet gets in the end zone this week. He's going against the Eagles, who are one of the 3 worst teams against the tight end, regardless of what the past few weeks' stats say.
All right, guys. I know you kind of went through some of your thoughts with the show. Do you want to go through some final thoughts for fantasy and everybody that's in the playoffs right now?
No. Best of luck. Rob, when I squeaked it out against you a few weeks ago, you said, I'll see you in the playoffs. And that you are. And my team is falling apart. The wheels are off. We are crawling. I mean, all I had to do the past 2 weeks was beat one of the 2 worst teams in the league. I lost 2 in a row. I had the number 1 seed. I lost to the second worst team. Got smoked because Lamar went down. Traylon Burks got hurt. All in the first quarter right away. It's like, oh, that's great. I think one of my running backs got hurt. ETN did nothing, and I lost to the second worst team. And then I dropped down to 3rd place, and all I had to do was beat the worst team in the league last week. That's all I had to do. And Kenny Pickett gets hurt. ETN does nothing. And the wide receiver got hurt. And it's just like, okay, I see where this is going. I thought the fantasy gods were on my side this year, but I guess not. So here I am now, the 5 seed, dropped all the way in 2 weeks from the 1 seed to the 5 seed after losing to the 2 worst teams in the league. And I have to go up against who I think is the best team in the league, Mr. Roberto. So I'm a huge underdog. So my final thoughts are, if you are in the same position as me, you need some Hail Marys. So get your Taysom Hills, your Desmond Ritters, your Jameson Williams. Put them in your lineup. Shoot for the moon. Or you could do a J reverse.
Just J reverse it. I'm pretty sure everything you just said was the biggest J reverse.
No, it wasn't. I did not say I was going to lose. My team is going to put up a hell of a fight. I am not giving up. You put up 25 last night with CMC. You got 2 guys going tomorrow night. I might be down 75 before my team even steps on the field. And the past 2 weeks, my team has barely put up 75 altogether. So I'm not giving up. We're going to fight like hell.
Let's do it, man.
Be afraid.
I told you, Taysom Hill's my scare right now, to be honest with you. That's my biggest one that I'm feeling that if he just game script has him throwing the ball, in my opinion, especially against an Atlanta team that's defense isn't there. It almost feels like the trick plays should be there. And it's funny. I was actually looking. If I would have won the game against you, I would have been the 2nd seed and I would have got the bye this week. So
Doesn't matter. You basically got to buy.
Stop that. Stop
You
that.
basically.
All right, guys. Remember, always Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Patreon. We appreciate every single one of you, and we wish you good luck. This is the show for the week. I guess we'll see you sometime next week. It may be something similar because there are every game's on Saturday pretty much, except for the 3 on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll
Next
go from
week's
there.
probably gonna be exactly the same type of show on a Friday night.
Yeah, and it'd probably be a little earlier because I do not have to go to my parents because I'll be seeing them on Saturday and Sunday anyways, so it makes things a little easier.
Nice. And it'll be Christmas Eve.
The eve of the eve. That is
Right?
correct, sir.
23rd.
Yes. Yep.
All right.
All right, guys. Best of luck.
See ya.
Deuces.
Good luck.